it's one thing to set goals, it's another thing to set deadlines. Stop worrying about finances and finding the home first, but instead, the first thing you should be doing or focusing on is building the business. We both know working corporate, you're working for somebody else and you're kind of fulfilling someone else's dream. And I love corporate from one perspective as it's an ends to a means or means to an end.
If you're working a job, JOB, it's an acronym for just over broke. And everybody realizes this, like your boss is only paying you enough money to keep you working without quitting, but not so much money it takes money out of their pocket. If they paid you what you're worth, they'd probably go broke, but you're living and working just over broke. Now, the sad thing too is we are all taught to go to school, get good grades. Those good grades go to college or university and get thousands and thousands of dollars into debt, and they get a piece of paper and then go hopefully find a career. Then work 40 plus years of your life and then retire 65, 70 years old and hopefully retire and live on 40% of what you managed to save your entire rest of your life. So it's just a plan that I found is not very fun. I have students now that are quitting their job in 3 and 4 years because they have to have fast track success because all the problems that all the thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars I wasted doing it the wrong way, they don't have to go through that.
One thing that you mentioned there, goal versus deadline. Man, without getting down a tangent, I know that's a big thread of yours too. You know, it's one thing to set goals, it's another thing to set deadlines. The number one that I learned from you was to stop worrying about finances and finding the home first, but instead, the first thing you should be doing or focusing on is building the business.
I did this route. I found the property and I found the money, and then my property manager started stealing from me within 6 months. It was horrible because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't hire the right people, and I don't want to manage the properties myself. So the key things about it is we invest all over the country. Midwest is going really, really well right now. Down in the Carolinas and into Florida are really, really good. Now, what we do is we invest out of state. And with that out of state, we make sure that we hire experts to do the work for us. Now, when I say experts, who am I talking about? Property managers, contractors, plumbers, roofers, inspectors, insurance agents. Like, think of all the right people in the business to run the business. The first step that you need to do is find a city that has good inventory. And these are the properties that people want to rent or eventually buy. Cookie cutter type homes. For me, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 to maybe 1,700 square feet. Not too small that families don't want to live there. Not too big that it's going to have extra walls to paint and extra toilets to fix and all that sort of stuff. You want a great cookie cutter type home. And with that, you also want to hire the experts in that city that you found. So you found a city, good inventory, meaning the properties that you want to rent, good price point that you could rent it for. My suggestion is $250 a month in passive income. Once you found that city with good inventory, then you will move on to building the business. Then we move on to financing. I've literally done 15 different ways to get financing, not just a mortgage or hard money lending. There's so many different ways, but that's not that hard. We'll get past that. But the next thing, once we all have this inventory set, we have the experts that are hired, the right ones set, that's when we get the financing. And then once we have the financing set, that's when we start looking for properties.
I love that thought. Focusing on a city, next building the team. And you mentioned a few key players on that team, especially early on, like the property manager, and just getting their thoughts and opinions and if they would truly manage the property. Then you move to financing and explore the 15 options. And you've done episodes on that, so go check those out and you can kind of explore the different options that Dustin can put out there for potential financing. And then you start making some offers, identifying some houses and making some offers. So I love the breakdown there. One other thing that I really love around building the business too is setting business rules. So for example, I know one of your rules is you empower property managers if the expense is less than $200, just take care of it. With me saying that, any other business rules that come to mind or a business rule you put in place that really worked out well for you?
And I like to call them systems, procedures, and process. Now, these systems and procedures and processes that we put in our business, they're going to help to make sure that it's ran properly the way that we want them to run. So like a property manager, and let's say the example of I trust a property manager. And I know that anything under $200, go ahead and fix it. You don't need to bother me with those. I've had some students who are so worried about their property manager nickeling and diming them. Like there's always a $100 charge here, a $180 charge here, like just below. And in the end, it just adds up. And so they even put it any charge. You talk to me. So we can work through that. That's not that big of a deal. We find the right property managers. They're going to take care of you. But on top of that, here's a big systems and procedures and process. Like here's a process that I give my property manager. So your property manager is your quarterback of your team. They're the ones that make you money, that protect your properties, that make sure you're getting the right people in there. They're going to do everything in the business for you. Just like in that convenience store analogy, you're not going to just grab somebody that's walking across the street and say, hey, you have a pulse. Come on in here, manage my money, manage my inventory, manage my customers, manage my employees, manage my business. You're not going to do that. You're going to hire them. You're going to interview them many times and then hire the best person for the job. People go into real estate investing thinking, oh, you're a property manager, go ahead and do it. No. We got to interview them. So with that, once we find the right property manager, that's a big deal, finding the right property manager. In fact, I have like 14 different questions that my students are to ask their property managers so they get to know them, interviewing them, and the answers of what they should look for. Here's a process that I give my property managers. And I tell this to every single property manager. I say, I don't care how you manage other landlords or other owners' homes, how you manage them. This is how you manage my house. The rent is due on the 1st. It's late after the 3rd. And then once on the 4th hits, you put a 3-day notice on the door, and every city has, in different counties have different laws, but follow this general pattern. It's usually the same. As soon as you put the 3-day notice, late fee and the 3-day notice. But if they haven't paid the late fee and the rent, once that 3-day notice is up, the next day you literally file an eviction right away. We don't put up with some, and I've done this before because I learned my lesson the hard way. I've had people sob stories. Oh, my son got arrested for the 8th time this month. I had to pay all the money that I would normally give you for rent, and I had to go. Like, okay, I guess. We can't do that. In fact, it seems like you could be a little choosy on things, and it also could be backfiring because somebody might say, hey, you gave this to this person. How come you didn't give it to me if they find out? In fact, what I found, when I do it this way, it's the most non-discriminatory practice ever. Everybody is treated the exact same. And no matter what happens, just like if my mortgage doesn't get paid, my bank is not going to take a sob story. Oh, my son just got arrested for the 8th time. They're going to say, well, it's too bad. It's still due. So this is the type of thing that we put into our business to make sure that the people that we hire, and when I don't just say, like, a lot of the quote unquote like gurus or people teach real estate, they'll say build a team. I don't talk about building a team. I talk about getting experts in my business. I don't have a team. I have a business, and I have either contractors or employees running my business. And so they work for me. The kind of it's just a little nuance, but when I hear of the word team, and my students, when they talk to team or say the word team to a property manager, let's say, hey, property manager, I'm looking to build my team. Immediate red flag. Oh, this guy read a book or just went to one of these seminars, and they're not going to work with you. No, what I do, here's how I call property managers. Hey, property manager, I'm an investor. I invest in this area. I'm looking for a new property manager. Tell me about your stuff. That's it. I'm a business owner, and I address it as a team. Or it's not a team, as a business. So those are a couple of things of how we run this as a business, as opposed to just being a mom and pop landlord.
I think that's a fair, nuanced distinction there, which I appreciate.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, if you want to make passive income by investing in real estate or grow your investments to achieve financial freedom, well, consider joining the Real Estate Wealth Builders Mastermind with me. Now, in the mastermind, we have people that in as little as 18 months have bought enough properties, 12 rental properties, to make money for them passively for financial freedom, and you can too. It's not about having a lot of money to invest. It's about having access to the right information, the right community of people, and the right coaching. So if you're interested in joining, I want you to check the link in the description and join us so that you become financially free by investing in real estate.